Okay, next place that I traveled to in Europe was Freiburg. Actually, I wasn't in Freiburg. I was staying just north of Freiburg in Gundelfingen, which is named after child genius Gundelfinger Klimabonus, sort of a child prodigy, founded the town, but they misspelled his name, and when he found out, I guess they committed him to a mental asylum. He was so angry. And he died choking on his own hand. It's kind of funny because he has the word finger in his name. But Gundelfingen was a nice town, very pretty, quiet, and this is like a small street with like 10 stores and then just houses and a lot of nature, a lot of pretty things all around. Sorry if this video gets kind of dry. It's just, I don't know. I was there, I think, a month, and I was mainly working on things. No, actually, I explored. I went to Strasbourg in France. I'll show some video from Freiburg, but a lot of times I would just go hiking because it was very pretty in a lot of areas that you can go hiking to very easily. This is like literally 10 minutes from where I was staying, and all kinds of forests. The forest, I mean, literally you could hike back there for weeks, if not days. A lot of mushroom imagery, wind turbines and parks and fire hoses to hose you down. This is in Freiburg, which is a larger city than Gundelfingen. It's called the Munster, I think, the monster. It's actually not that big of a cathedral. There are much bigger ones. When I go to Strasbourg, you'll see a big one. This is where I was staying, my Airbnb. It was really quiet, even though like 50 feet away was the train tracks. So every now and then a train would go by for 5 seconds or so, but overall it was much preferable to having a freeway nearby or something. I thought this jar of olives was kind of funny shaped. This is a free beer they gave me for some reason. This is what I thought was apple juice, but it was apple cider vinegar, and I didn't drink it. Look at the lighting here. But the real catch is this UFO that I caught on film. Yeah, deal with it. One day I got lost and I got home really late at night. This cow was just staring at me. Just leave! Okay, this is the day I go to Strasbourg in France. And I don't know how long it took, a few hours to get there. I had the €9 ticket, so I didn't have to pay any extra, which was nice. And I don't know, Strasbourg was okay. It was, compared to Gundelfingen, it seemed like a lot less nature, a lot more concrete. I do admit that the cathedral was very pretty and I think it was the tallest building for like 200 years. I forget which 200, but it was pretty tall. I don't know how they built these things without modern construction devices, but I would put it in my top 5 cathedrals if I did things like that. I think after about 50 cathedrals, they all start to look alike, but yeah, this one was pretty nice. There was like an island. Oh, one day I was in Strasbourg eating at this Asian fusion restaurant, and this horse walked by. Kind of pretentious. And then I saw a wild street dog, a wild dog of the streets. Like I was in Southeast Asia, a mad, rabid dog of the streets without owner or master, a wild dog of the streets and no owner whatsoever, just a wild, oh, never mind, there's the owner. Yeah, it just seemed kind of more manicured and not as wild. These parks, I'm not a fan of French parks for some reason. They just seem too chained off and not free. This street looks ugly to me because there's no trees, you know. I crossed the Rhone or the Rhine or that river on the border. Then I was back in Gundelfingen. One day I got stuck out in the rain. I wrote a song about a helicopter. Maybe one day I'll release it. This is a dog. I asked the owner, what's the dog's name? She said, Golden Retriever. I don't know if she spoke English very well. There's a lot of cats all over Gundelfingen, which is a good sign, I think, because how pets and children and other disempowered people interact with the society at large, I think it's a reflection of how the society functions. This cat just stared at me. Stared at me. This cat lay in the gutter like 5 feet from the cars. I've never seen that. This cat also just stared at me. He wouldn't even flinch or blink. He was mad. Foggy morning. A mossy lake. A dark and stormy... Okay, back in Freiburg, got all the bikes. But even though it was a nice city, nice university, I think I always prefer just like nature and getting away. So I went up this hill, this park. There's a lot of Freiburg I didn't even get to, like that part over there and that part over there. But that's how Europeans build their cities, right to the edge of the town, and then boom, country begins. These people, I think, realized they were British. I heard them talking. I think they realized they were being filmed. They're like, that guy's filming us. Now we're world famous stars. Thanks a lot, Adam Savage. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. This thing went up really slow. I sped it up like 100 times because it was very slow. Yeah, rock and roll. This park is pretty nice. And this house is, no, it's not a house. I don't know what it was. This is a typical street, but they also have these stupid cigarette machines, like right in suburban neighborhoods with, you need your ID to buy, but it's a very coffee, alcohol, and beer culture. Wait, alcohol is beer. Coffee, cigarettes, and alcohol. I walked up one day to this old castle that was like 1,000 years old. I wanted to go to the top. I couldn't go to the top. It was strictly verboten. But there were plenty of great hiking areas where, I don't know what this bug is, but it's a continuing episode in my bug series. Recycling in Germany is off the wall. It's so much work. You have to divide things into like 8 different bags. It's ridiculous. In the store, you can buy cigarettes. They're not behind the counter like in the US, but they have all this horrible imagery of like children dying and rotting lungs. And I was filming it and they're like, don't film that. I don't know what they said, but I'm pretty sure they said, don't film. Don't film in our stores. Don't film our cancer machines. We know you're a world famous YouTuber. Yeah, anyways. Here's the wine queen, aka the town drunk. Okay, I guess I left and I'm going on to my next destination, which was Zurich, but I went to Basel for a train trayover, and Basel seemed nice, I guess. This is all I really saw of it. Some nuclear reactor or something. On my way. So I was in Zurich, and first thing I saw were these people swimming in the river. Even though it was only like a month ago, it seems so much warmer now. But that was the first time I felt cold. This is the Bambi statue. I went up to some university. There was a cow, a blue cow. This is the river again. That was the first time it felt starting to get cold. And I went to the James Joyce Zurich Foundation thing, but I'm going to do a separate video because that's pretty niche. But here's an exciting sneak preview. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, back to the footage. I interviewed 2 people there, though, so I'll show that footage and some other stuff, James Joyce related, all over Zurich, because he lived there for quite a few years. Yeah, Zurich seemed nice. It was, except for the bells of the church that ring for like 15 minutes. What is the deal? It's like people have cell phones now. You don't need to herd people to church with a bell. It's ridiculous. When you glare at my camera, you become a star. That's the rules. This woman didn't glare at the camera. She was just doing something with her hand, so I thought I'd zoom in on it to contrast with the architecture, which is a really slow shot. And you speed these shots up. Just do it. There's another wild street dog coming to attack me. He would have bit into me, but his mouth was occupied, so he couldn't. This is the Corbusier thing. I was going to go in, but it was like 10 euros for like a tiny little place. I'm like, no, Here's Lake Zurich, which is a very pretty lake. And it's like a little beach park. I don't know what this was, some Rube Goldberg device of some sort. It would periodically run. There it is, very large, artsy or something. Here's the lake. Yeah, very pretty lake, kind of a beach. The last fleeting days of summer. Here's a stone woman. Here's another stone woman. Here's another episode of my bug series. Then I went to the cemetery. Why did I go to the cemetery, you're asking? What on earth were you thinking? It was like the highest point in the city, maybe. Pretty high. But the reason I was going was because I was going to visit the grave of a person. I'm trying to line it up with the video. Don't step on the grave, says the thing. There's some rocks, and you can't read the gravestone. It's unreadable, like this guy's books. That's right, it's James Joyce, the superhero. Here's the view from way up there. I think Zurich overall was pretty nice. It was probably my favorite Airbnb that I've stayed at so far because I rented a room rather than the whole apartment, and they had like a small party with like 6 people, so it was fun to hang out with them. And they were all drinking, but I couldn't because I had to take a bus the next day at 7 a.m. So I was onward. Where did I go next? Stay tuned for the next exciting episode.